Hello, students. How's everybody doing? All right. Glad to be frog in my throat, apparently. Glad to be back with all of you once again today. Really excited about today's lesson, like I always am, because it's really, really important, which is the 5 things you need to be on the lookout for before you sight read. We'll get into it here in a second. So it looks like the stream is up and running, which is good. I forgot to mute it. Here we go. We're going to get started here in just a minute. I want to get some other people to trickle in. And yeah, hopefully everybody's doing great. Let's bring up the chat here. We got Jeremy back again. How you doing, Jeremy? We got Carol Christensen. We got Adria. We got Adria again. Hey, Carol, love the hat, Tim. Thank you very much. I saw it on Amazon, and I really liked it, so I picked it up. So it's pretty cool. I would like to get one. I was thinking about getting one with my logo on it. The thing is I think it would be kind of redundant, so I kind of like how this one goes vertical, and the other one, this one goes horizontal. So, yeah, thanks. Now I have a uniform to go along with the lessons. Okay, so we're going to get started here. Awesome. I'm doing better. Thank you. I hope you're doing well, Tim. Yeah, I am too. I hope you are as well, Jeremy. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right, let me see. It's about 8 o'clock now. I do want to get into the lesson here. So what I'm going to do, if it's your first time here or you are a returning student, feel free to say hello in the chat. I'm going to get the Facebook stream started because I like to dual stream on both. So that'll take just less than a minute. In the meantime, just feel free to come in the chat, say hello. If you want to sit back, relax, I have no problem with that. So just hold on, like I said, less than a minute. Hello, students, and welcome to our classroom piano lessons on the web. I'm your teacher, Tim, here, and if it's your first time joining us or you are new to the experience, what I need you to do is, if you're watching on Facebook, like our page. If you're watching on YouTube, you need to smash that subscribe button and turn on all notifications because we have new lessons coming out all the time, and I don't want you to miss a beat. Right off the top of my head, new lessons come out Saturday, Sunday, and Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. And we meet live every Friday and every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure you are subscribed or liked so you're up to date. We're going to get started in the lesson here, and then I'm going to say hello to some more people in the chat, and we'll go from there. It's going to be a great lesson. I can feel it. So just give me a couple of seconds here. Actually, I'm pretty much ready already. You're a piano teacher, Tim here, and there are 5 things you need to be on the lookout before you even start sight reading a piece. Even if you're aware of these, you're probably not making a checklist and going through them even before you start playing, which is a huge, huge mistake. Let me show you thing number 1. Okay, let me bring up an example here, which I had up. Hold on. Where are you at? Here we go. Perfect. All right. Let me make sure I got my pen ready, so we're ready to go. And my earphones. Okay, the first thing you need to be on the lookout for is the key signature of a piece. Now, like I said, you may or may not be familiar with this, but a key signature Specifically, what you're going to be looking out for are obviously what sharps are flat throughout a piece. So in the key signature, if you had a note on each, where each of these sharps are located, you have the top note there, that space, and that line. Those 4 notes you would have are F, C, G, and D. This means that no matter what line or space they're on, those notes are sharp throughout the entire piece. You want to really, really understand what the key signature is telling you. Not just glance at it, not just know what the key name is. You have to know exactly what it's telling you. I have another tip for you is when you determine what key you're in, this case we happen to be in C sharp minor, you want to play the C sharp minor scale on the piano. Now why is that? Because it helps you map out the 4 sharps you have. Also, by playing the scale, it kind of shows you, it definitely shows you the tonal center, meaning that the notes are going to be centered around C sharp. And likely you're going to have some scale patterns in there. So playing the scale along with the key signature that it's based on is really, really important and will help you out a lot. All right, let's get to thing number 2. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Oh, of course. Maybe I want to use a different example. So let me bring up something really quick. Okay. Okay, thing number 2 you need to be on the lookout for. Of course, I am talking about the time signature, which is right next to the key signature. It's this fraction looking thing. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. What's going on here? Oh, here we go. It's this fraction looking thing right here. And what that tells you is that the top number tells you how many beats are in a measure, so in each of these boxes. And then the bottom number tells you what note gets 1 count or 1 beat. So this whole time you've probably been learning that a quarter note, one of these guys, just, a filled in note head with a stem on it, is worth 1 beat. So if you're playing 4/4, it's no problem. That's true. But if it's like 6/8 or something where the bottom number is no longer a 4, then the quarter note is actually going to change how many beats it gets. And if you're scared by this, you're probably don't have to worry in the beginning, because a lot of the songs you're going to be playing are 4/4, 3/4, and 5. Well, 5/4 is a little bit out there, but and then you'll move on to 6/8. If it has an 8 at the bottom, what note do you think gets 1 beat? An eighth note. So think about 4 quarter, right? You split something into 4, that's a quarter. Split something into 8, that's an eighth note. If it's at a 16 on the bottom, what kind of note would get 1 beat? A 16th note. Makes sense. But the implications of that, so say you're in 6/8, the implications of that is that if an eighth note is now worth 1 beat, everything else has to be double, because remember an eighth note before was worth half a beat. Now it's worth 1 beat. So the conversion is twice as much. So a quarter note then would be worth, what do you think? 2 beats. That's right. And again, you don't want to just look at the time signature and go, okay, it's 4/4, and not truly think and understand what it's telling you. You want to absolutely know. You actually want to be counting out each of the 4 beats throughout. You also want to be on the lookout for, there's nothing here, but you want to be on the lookout for time signature changes. That goes with key signature changes as well. Likely the example won't change unless you're doing something a bit more advanced, but you'll want to be on the lookout for that for sure. And then the last thing you want to be on the lookout for related to the key signature is usually this. It'll either have a word like adagio, allegro, and that'll tell you how fast to go, or it'll say quarter note or half note equals a certain number. And that's actually what you're going to set your metronome to if you want to play it necessarily at full speed. Now, when you're sight reading, I don't think it's practical in a lot of cases, unless you're more advanced, again, to play something at full speed. So you kind of want to look at that, understand that maybe like that's the ideal tempo you want to go. Get as close as you can to that, but I would honestly focus on getting the notes right and getting the rhythms right first. All right, let me show you the next thing you need to be on the lookout for. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to check in with the chat super quick just to make sure everything is going great. Okay. Yep. Everything's good. Okay. Let me take a look. It's in a book. It's Reading Rainbow. All right. Let me find something with accidentals in it, and I think I have just the thing. Just the thing. Indeed. So just hold on. Okay, the next thing you want to be on the lookout for are accidentals, which is an odd term because the composer purposely put them in there. What are they? Well, let me show you, and let me show you, how it applies to sight reading. So obviously, in the beginning, I said look out for the key signature, know how many flats, and know where those are at, B, E, A, and D. It really helps to know music theory for this, but you can, like I said, draw the notes and figure it out. But the more important thing for this point is to look for notes that do not conform to the key signature. These are known as accidentals, and they will be designated by a sharp, flat, or natural in the middle of the piece. Now, keep in mind that an accidental, they should really be called temporaries because it only really applies to that measure in that instance for where that sharp or flat is. So you want to be on the lookout for that. So when you're sight reading or before you sight read, pick out in your mind, I'm like, okay, in measure 3, there's a natural. In measure 4, there's a natural. What notes are they? Well, there's a B natural. So instead of the B flat, let me bring up the whole thing here. Here we go. That's what I meant to do. Instead of the B flat, you're going to have a B and then a C natural. Now, I don't feel like that's... No, because it's bass clef. My apologies. So you're going to have a D natural in that one measure, and then an E natural in the next. So just keep in mind that for that temporary moment in time, that those are changed, and then you have some flats. So be on the lookout for those for sure, because especially if there's a lot of accidentals, it's going to trip you up, and it's better to mark them out ahead of time. Does that mean that you're automatically not going to make a mistake on them? No. But it's going to increase your chances in getting through the passage of music without making those critical mistakes. Let me think about something else that I wanted to say. Let me see if I can find it first in this piece of music. Okay, one thing that trips up all students, especially in the beginning, are the distances between B and C and E and F when it comes to accidentals. So here's the thing. In a piece of sheet music, you're going to find C flats every once in a while. So you're just going to have to know that that's a B. For some reason, that trips everybody up because they really expect there to be a black key in between here. Same thing for here. B sharp is really C. Now, music theory standpoint, it's still B sharp, but we're not going to get into that today. Know that E sharp is F and F flat is E. So just be especially on the lookout for those, and actually play them ahead of time before you start playing, because they get everybody. They don't really get me so much anymore, but they got me for a long time. All right, on to the next point. All right. See. All right, we're making pretty good progress here. Okay. Yep. Here we go. So notes whether they're sharp or flat, and the rhythms aren't the only thing involved in making a piece of sheet music what it is, and music making it sound musical. There's more to it than that. And the next thing you really need to be on the lookout for are dynamics. So dynamics are how loud or how soft you play. So I'm not going to go over them all, but just generally know that P means soft, F means loud. Double P, pianissimo, means very soft. Double F means very loud. And then if you have MF or MP, that kind of brings them towards the middle. But you really, really need to be on the lookout for these and try to integrate them the best you can in your sight reading experience. Now, like I said, notes and rhythms, accuracy in those take precedence. Everything else is really secondary, but the more you can add in these finer details right off the bat when you sight read, the better of a sight reader you're going to be, because it really saves time. So if I'm learning this piece for real, which I have before, and I'm sight reading it, well, hey, if I get the notes, I get the rhythms, I get the dynamics, I get as much of the other things as possible. Well, hey, that's a lot of the legwork that's already done for me. So I don't have to go back and play it again with all the other stuff. But remember, this is more advanced. This is after you've been sight reading for a while. You get those notes down. You get those rhythms down really well. You can play it at a reasonable tempo. Then add in those dynamics. But even if you're just reading a piece of sheet music that you've played before, then you definitely want to be on the lookout for that as well. Okay. I think that box is running out of, yeah, it is running out of batteries. That's the only thing that sucks about that thing, is it runs out of batteries in like an hour. It's like, what is the point? I don't know. Other than that, I kind of like it, but it may go. I may replace it with something else or figure out. That's really bothering me. I'm going to turn it off. There we go. Okay, on to the next point. All right, let me see what it is. I'm pretty sure I know what it is. Okay, perfect. Okay, other than dynamics, what makes music sound musical, other than everything else I mentioned, are the articulations. Now, what in the world is an articulation? Well, it's all these other lines and dots and things around notes. Not so much the dotted note. That's more of a rhythm thing when it's off to the side. But see, this passage here, you've got some staccatos there, meaning to play them short. So it's giving you some more information on how to play the notes. Everything I've listed today is in order of priority. So this is even a lower priority when sight reading, by the way. If you're mastering the piece, then yeah, that's high priority. But if you are sight reading, this is even after the dynamics, I would say. And this is more of an advanced thing once you've learned how to sight read really well. But no, like adding these in will really make the music sound really good rather than just, like all flat. It sounds okay. But if you add in all this stuff, it sounds so much better. So do your best to add this in, but like I said, only after you've mastered getting the notes, rhythms, and the dynamics already down. Okay, we have more to the lesson, even though we're through all 5 points. So let me check on the chat. Everything looks good. I'm going to... Oh, yeah. Okay, I'll explain that in a second. So just give me a sec here, guys, because I want to get through the next part. If you're finding the lesson helpful so far, you know what to do. You need to kablooey smash the like button because, first of all, it helps me with the algorithm, but it also helps, more importantly, other students know that this is a quality lesson that they can learn from also. So I very much appreciate that. All right, let's get on to the next portion of the lesson. Assignment time. Yes, you have homework. What do you need to do? Well, what you need to do is, as I mentioned in the intro, a lot of people know about these already, but they're not thinking them through before they're sight reading or before they're reading any piece of music. It doesn't have to be sight reading. What you need to do is you need to list all the 5 things we talked about today, and then what you need to do is you need to list them, put them in a list, put them right by where you play piano, and look at them before you read through your music. And you need to make this a regular activity. You need to make it a habit to look for these, because if you don't, and every once in a while it gets me too, I just jump into a piece and I'm like, oh, I don't really understand what's happening here. And this is why. So you need to make that list. You need to make it a habit. All right, on to the next exciting part of the lesson. Everybody's favorite time, quiz time, where I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, maybe 2 or 3, about the lesson today. And if you can answer them, pretty well, then you understand the main parts of this lesson. If you can't understand them, you need to go back and watch parts of the lesson again, or the whole thing. I always recommend watching the lesson more than once. But you need to go back and watch to see if you can pick out the answers. Here we go. Question number 1. This one's simple, but hopefully you've been paying attention. What are the 5 things, yes, 5, that you need to be on the lookout for when sight reading a piece of music? Question 2. Why is knowing what the key signature is important? Question 3. I mentioned 4 accidentals that students always get wrong. They're actually between 2 sets of notes. So if you can answer that part, that's fine. But what are the 4 accidentals that students always miss that you especially need to be on the lookout for? All right. Okay, time for the next part of the lesson. I asked you on social media if you had any questions that you wanted to go over during this lesson about sight reading or just playing music in general. So let's go to the community tab and take a look. All right, let me open this up here, folks. All right, so just should be another few seconds here. I'm almost there. I promise. Okay, here we are on the community tab. So scroll down, or I'm scrolling down. You don't have to scroll down. I'm going to do it all for you. Okay, our first question or comment here, we'll see which one it is. I believe it's a question if I remember, is by Greg Wiles, who says, I struggle with sight reading, but there's something I do that helps me get through learning new pieces. I pencil in all the notes. Ooh. Doing that helps me learn songs, but I'm not sure if it hurts my progress in the long run. I've asked some musicians about this, and I get mixed opinions about it. I wonder if you think it's a good idea or not. Tim? Well, the answer is no. It's not a good idea. However, there are some times when you should write in a note. If you miss it like over and over and over again, or if it's a note like that the composer has written really, really high up on many, many ledger lines, then I think it's okay. They really should be using the 8VA when they do that, but they don't always do that. Sometimes it's just really impossible to read. You can write them in then. You might even want to erase them later. But what you definitely don't want to do is write in every single note or even half the notes or even a quarter of the notes. That's too many. You'll want to use it sparingly. You want to use it when it makes sense. If you use it all the time, you're not really reading the sheet music. You're cheating. And you'll actually spend a lot of more time writing in the notes in the long run. So say you spend 2 years learning how to read music really well. You've been playing, and you can sight read really, really well and actually read the music. You don't have to write in any. From that point on, you're going to be able to learn and read pieces so much faster than you could than if you were writing them in, because every time then you do a piece, you have to write it in. So I'm going to give you a definite. It doesn't matter what all the other musicians say. The definite is no, but you can if you need to, like 1 or 2 notes. That is not what I meant to do. Here we go. The next question, it looks like more of a comment, I think I read this earlier, is by our wonderful, amazing student, Carol Etchoff, who says, well, this is what I do. For any music, know the key signature, time signatures. Oh, wow. Hey, this should look familiar, guys. Time signatures, dynamics, accidentals, slurs, ties, staccatos, etc. Rhythmic and melodic patterns, play slowly, keep my eyes on music. That's a good point. Avoid looking up, down from music to my hands. Always look ahead to see if what I'm going to be playing next. Okay, looking ahead is actually not a bad strategy. It's a little bit more of an advanced one. And it's something that, yeah, if you've been sight reading for a while, you should do. But for sure, even if I make some mistakes. Then after I do my sight reading, I do an evaluation on my playing, and then go back and see my mistakes. Set a goal for the 3rd time to reread the music. Always keep a pencil on my piano, highlighter, and ink pen, and extra post notes to mark where I need to correct things, and always use a metronome for my rhythm. Hopefully this pointer helps other students. And do not get a good piano light. I don't know, piano light. Anyway, I recommend getting a good piano light, unless we're talking about 2 different things. Anyway, to the question or the statement, yeah, so a lot of what you said was perfect and spot on. Now, it's contradictory a little bit to what I said, because you did mention about taking notes, post-it notes, whatever. So from what I understand, what you're doing is you're sight reading, and then you're kind of, one says a genuine sight read, and then you're kind of regrouping, kind of thinking, okay, where am I making the mistakes? And, maybe pointing them out, and then going through and correcting as many of the mistakes as you can. I think this is fine. You want to, over time, perhaps use less notes, less writing things in, and try to get them all in your head as much as possible. Pianists, for some reason, probably because back then they didn't have computers, pianists are expected to memorize everything. When I was reading, or when I was playing in recitals in music school, only the pianists were required to memorize, which was crazy, because we would have, here, listen to me complain. We would have like 14 sheets, of music to memorize. Actually, I had like 20 some in that senior recital I posted. That was well over like 28 pages of memorization. Might even have been 30. But I remember being well over 20, and like trumpet players didn't have to do that. Violinists didn't have to do that. They had a sheet of music in front of them, and they would only have to play a couple pages. It's like, come on, what's going on? But anyway, pianists are just expected to do that, and I think it's really good for your mind as well. That's probably why I'm probably more sharp than I've ever been overall, even though I do forget things because there's so much going on. But like even in my 30s now, I feel more sharp than I did when I was in my early 20s, and it's because I always strive to keep as much up here as possible. Don't be wrong, writing notes is fine, but don't get too accustomed to it, and try to like kind of wean yourself off of it over time. But otherwise, great suggestion. Okay. P.S. See you next lesson on Friday. Okay, well, that takes care of that. All right, so those are all the questions I got. Let's get on to the next section. All right, guys and gals, let's bring it back to me. Okay, so what I'm going to do, it's going to sound like I'm ending the lesson here, but I'm not. I'm just doing this so when I piece the lesson together, when I edit it, it will be better. So I'm not ending the stream here. I'm just kind of forewarning everybody here. So what should you do next? Well, the first thing you need to do is smash that subscribe button, turn on all notifications because you have new lessons coming out all the time. You don't want to miss a beat. But what you definitely want to do in terms of watching something else is check out my playlist on how to sight read. I have a couple of really good lessons in there. I'm also going to put another collection here of how to read music faster using a bunch of techniques that I've talked about on the channel, but it's really, really good that you get those because you'll be able to read and sight read that much faster. It's been your piano teacher, Tim, here once again. Thank you for coming out to our classroom, and I'm going to see you, yes, you, in that next lesson. All right, I'm still here. So let's take a look here at the chat because I've not been looking at the chat this whole time. Let's take a look. Good piano light on piano. All right, let's take a look here. Catherine's here. Okay, the memorize thing, yeah, it's crazy. On viola, I'm a noob. We just read our piece on stage. See, I'm not lying to you. And forget it after we put the notes away. I'm so jealous. Like I said, though, I think it works out in my favor in the long run. Carol says, what really helped me with notes was what Tim said. Once 2 above the treble clef is C. Yeah, so like, yeah, anything that's really high up or or really low. Yeah, really high, low. That makes sense. Carol, I think you're talking about the middle C. Yep. Let's see here. Ada says, because you may become too dependent on writing the notes. I agree. Hey, everybody, wish I caught this feed earlier, says Catherine. Well, that's okay, Catherine. We're about halfway through the live stream portion. Key signature, scale are the same thing. Key signature and scale are almost the same thing. Let me clarify. A key signature is the actual symbols that you see on the page, like say F, C, G, and D. That's the key signature in the beginning of the piece. The key signature signifies the key, and the key is the actual notes on the piano or in this music that you're going to be using, right? So there's a little bit more to it than that. I know it's confusing because there's so many very similar things here, and then I'll talk about what a scale is. So say you have 0 sharp, 0 flats, or no, 1 sharp. We'll do a different example for once. And that is the key of G. We'll say it's G major. So obviously in the key signature, you're going to have that F, the symbol. That's your key signature. However, in the key, this is the actual key. All the notes that you're going to be using. When you play all the notes in the key, starting from the tonic, the starting note, up to the next tonic, and all the key signature notes in between, that is a scale. And they are all essentially the same thing, but it is important to kind of know the slight subtle differences between them. All right, let's take a look here. Okay, we got Fanny here. The key signatures are the scale, the notes, the beats, and the dynamics. Yes, so that's probably when I was asking you guys all the questions. Thank you for using this piece. I had finished this one months ago, but still not clean. You're very welcome, Marie. Laredo, back again. Oh, I am so enjoying this lesson. Glad to hear it. So are my nephews. Forgive me for messing their names up. Oh, man. T and K, all the way from Johannesburg, South Africa. Great lesson, Tim. Sorry, I'm not from South Africa, so I can't pronounce those names. To me, anything with a TS, TSH, Shepiso, and Keflaway. Yeah, so sorry about that. But so glad that you're all enjoying the lesson. That's all that matters. Okay. Let's see. I was confused the other day on E sharp. Yeah, I had to think about it for a little bit. It didn't seem right playing the F. Yeah, that gets everybody. All right. So hopefully I got to the more important questions, or the most, that people had. Fireflower's here. Thank you for coming, Fireflower. Glad to have you with us. A tried and true student, everybody. Same thing with Jeremy, Hector, like Carol, Adria. We get a lot of returning students, and I love it. Love it. So if you're watching for the first time, feel free to say hello. If you want to sit back in the background, still chill and listen, that's totally fine. But I would love for you to come back and join us again. And Rich is here. I saw his name early on. He can't hide from me. Hey, Tim, how are you? I'm great. Thanks for clearing that up, Tim. You're very welcome. Good night, Tim. Well, I'm still here for a little bit, but good night, Marcos. Yes, Tim. Hi, says Barbara. Hello. And Barbara, by the way, is another one that Barbara makes every live stream, I think. I don't recall many at all that Barbara has not been in attendance. There may have been one. Carol Christensen gave us a $5 super chat, everybody. Thank you so much, Carol, for supporting our channel. Really, really appreciate that. Okay, so question for you guys. I still have a space here in my Hollywood Squares where I can fit another music item. What do you think I should put there? That's the question of the day. Really important stuff here. All right. Hi, Tim. Do you have any video about syncopated rhythms on the left hand? No, I do not. I don't think. For example, I was struggling a few days ago with the habanera Carmen. Oh, that's a good one. You know what I'm going to do, though, because I have never made a lesson on this, at least not that I can recall. I'm going to make one. So let me write this down in my handy dandy notes here, because making this list, I started doing this years ago, a couple of years ago now, 2 years ago, where I started making a list of all the ideas, and it's so helpful, and I think it's resulted in like way better lessons as a result. I just need to find where it is, because I'm used to using it on my other computer. Here it is. Okay, let me get this down, and then we'll be back with more questions and awesome shenanigans. The list is so long, so long. Okay, I have all the March lessons already. Or do I? 2, 4, 6. No. I can fit it in March. Okay. Syncopated rhythms. Sorry that's coming out, a little while later, but I have scheduled the next couple of months to go. While I'm looking at this, it reminds me. Student Showcase. I'm going to be putting out a video soon, just kind of announcing it, letting people know that they can enter their submissions. I have one submission already, so I'm calling on everybody. What the community showcase is that you send me a video during a month, like say the month of January, and at the end of the month during a live stream, I'm going to review it and critique it. I'm going to be nice. I'm not going to rip you apart. I'm going to, though, give you some helpful criticism and let you know what I liked about it as well. So you can think about it like a private mini lesson that's public. I don't know. Anyway, that's how it works. So I did get one submission, and I would like some more. So, I know Rich has a channel. I know a lot of you other guys have a channel of you playing. If you feel comfortable, please send me a link or, let me know what piece you'd like me to review. You can send me, email me, tim@lessonsontheweb.com, or over on my Facebook page, facebook.com/lessonsontheweb. Send me a private message there, and then let me know, send me the recording, whether you send it as attachment or you upload it to YouTube first, whichever. So just letting you know about that. All right, back to the community. Marie says, I like to improve my ability to read chords faster. For example, Pathetique Sonata, bars 47 to 50. I actually have a course called Chord Trainer on my website, pianolessonsontheweb.com, if you'd like to check that out. Yeah, you know what? I'm trying to think of an exercise to give you, but I'm not really sure other than the course I mentioned. But I want to give you something that you can find online. I'm gonna have to think about that, Marie. Other than, yeah. Oh, you know what would help are, and I had trouble finding these the other day, but let me try to find these just for you. You want to learn your cadences if you haven't already. Let me see if I can pull this up. PDF. This might be it. We might have lucked out, everybody. We freaking lucked out big time because I found it right away, which doesn't happen ever. All right, I am giving you guys a link to cadences, chord cadences, and you want to learn these and all the keys, and that will help you. That will get you on the way where you need to be. Show Catherine's thing. Yeah, I'll do it. Send link to tim@lessonsontheweb.com. Yes, that's perfect. Adria. Yeah, Adria says, thought I would mention this. If you haven't already watched the video on the Alexander technique, I shared in our group. I did watch part of it. I'm actually already familiar with the Alexander technique, but I don't use it because it's kind of like a different kind of thing. But from what I understand about the Alexander technique is it's all about how you position your body and focusing on basically your posture, and that helps you move and play around the piano and play much more expressively. I'm going to have to check out the lesson in full detail, or the video you sent me. I'm so used to calling videos the lessons on YouTube. It's like, man, I checked out the latest lesson from PewDiePie. All right, we got, I think that's it. No, I missed a few, but forgot this one. Till now, says Barbara. Okay, well, glad to have you with us. I always just seem to remember you being here, like, all the time. So you don't miss too many. I know that. Okay. Anybody whoa, what happened? Anybody have any questions about sight reading that we did tonight? And you know what I'm going to do while this may be coming in is I want to talk about a few things with you guys. Some things you may be familiar with, some things not so much. Okay, so if you're digging the lessons over here on YouTube, you're going to love the courses I have over on my website, pianolessonsontheweb.com, where I have over 20 courses designed to help you learn a lot more about not just piano, but music theory, improvisation, rhythm, ear training, sight reading, and pretty much anything I felt you would need to become a well-rounded musician. These are great for beginners, like if you just found out about me, or maybe you've watched my videos and you need a really solid foundation of the beginner's topics. There's a lot of courses here for you. And if you have experience already and you've watched a lot of my stuff and you're looking for more things I haven't covered on the channel, you want to also check these out, and I'll show you more about that in a second. You can read more about all the features, but obviously beyond just what YouTube offers you, where I basically give you a video lesson and that's it. I might give you like one thing to practice, but what this is about is, in the courses, I'll introduce you to a topic in a lesson, kind of like the one you're watching, but then there's going to be exercises, there's going to be worksheets, there's going to be real sheet music to play, all designed to help you really understand and practice each topic, which is super important in music. You don't want to learn something and just move on. You need to understand it. You need to know it really well, and this is going to help you do just that. Okay, and then course packages. So there's you can get a deal, pretty good deal, for buying courses all together in a pack. We got the beginner's pack, we got intermediate, advanced, and then of course the all course access, which is the best price. Now you get multiple courses obviously in each pack, and normally courses are $29.99 a piece. So you can see this beginner's pack for $49.99, but you get 4 courses in there. And you may have seen that the intermediate and advanced pack were a bit more, but they include more than twice as many courses. They include 9 courses a piece. The intermediate pack is great for people who have watched a lot of my videos and are looking to build on from there. The advanced is like if a lot of what I talk about on the channel is below you, or below where you're at, you probably want to check out that one, because that gets into the more advanced territory. Now, if you click on a pack, obviously you can see what courses are included in a pack, but if you click on the course title, it will take you to the course description page where you can learn more about it. You're going to figure out what you need to know ahead of time, what you're going to be able to do at the end of the course, songs you're going to learn at this course. What course is this? Playing the piano level 2. So you're going to learn these classics here that are great, and obviously each level that goes up, they get more and more difficult. So you can check that out there. And here's the beginner's pack. And one last thing I want to mention is that there's a satisfaction guarantee. So 30-day money back guarantee. If you're not satisfied for whatever reason, or you just decide it's not for you, just request a refund within 30 days, and I'd be more than happy to give you a full refund. So I just wanted to mention this quickly, because if you like what you see over here on the channel, and you're going to love the courses over there. It's a great way to invest both in yourself, your own piano education, and in the channel as well. Okay, now, everyone. No, let me do this. Sorry for the whiplash. Okay, so on my website, if you click on the community tab at the top, this is really for the live streams, for the students attending the live streams. And one thing I want to tell you right now is that there's a box here. And if you fill out this box, you're going to get an email reminder 30 minutes before we meet. It's actually more reliable than YouTube. YouTube is kind of hit or miss. I bet you never miss, huh? Or I guess I never miss, huh? Anyway, down here, there's a calendar where basically detailing what we're talking about and when. I do have the lessons picked out for February, so I am going to update the calendar soon with what they are. But just kind of showing you what's coming up here, that we have classical pieces that are great for beginners on Sunday. I took special care of this one to include pieces that I've never talked about on the channel before, or talked very few. You're going to see some of the classics that I've talked about many times, like the Prelude in C. You're probably going to see that pop up. But you're going to see a lot of other things that I haven't talked about yet. So I wanted to make it spicy for the existing students who have been with me for a while. Then we got the student showcase on the 25th, which is what, next Friday? Man. So I'll get, it looks like we're probably going to get at least one submission, but somebody else was interested, Catherine, I believe, where, so I'm going to go over as many submissions as I get. And here's how it's going to work. A lot of people ask me, what's the due date on this? There's no due date on the student showcase. How it's going to work is if you send me a lesson in January, I'll review it one of the last live streams of January. If you submit it to me in February, I'm going to review it one of the last live streams in February. Although if you send it to me after we do the live stream in January, so you send it to me on the 26th after we do it, I'm just going to push that back to February. I'll do my best to remind you and let you know that won't be included in that one. That will be included in the next one. So there's no like real running out of time kind of thing. Just know that if you send it to me at the beginning of the month, you're not going to see me review it until the end of the month. And the only stipulation is that for right now, only one submission per student per month. So if you want to give me a submission for January, February, March, April, that's great. But don't give me 2 for January and 5 for February. I'm just going to ignore all the ones past the first one. So that's the deal. Okay. Let me check out this website really quick. Okay, this isn't bad. I'll allow this comment because it wanted me to possibly hide it. Okay. Gymnopedie number 1 sounds nice. I agree. That one is great. Tim or anyone, what is the best way to record my playing to send to Tim? My camera on my iPhone. Yeah, probably. To tell you the truth. Yep. So your smartphone. A lot of people, even I have a smartphone now, which is crazy. But your smartphone's good. Laptops, they all have cameras. Trying to think about what else. I mean, I have a fancy camera setup, but you don't need that. Oh, and one thing I want to tell you is you don't necessarily have to show your face unless you want to. It's probably more important that you get some angle of the piano. It doesn't need to look like this, like perfect. It really needs to just be so where I can kind of see what's going on. Honestly, the more important part about it is if I can hear what you're playing. I'm going to be able to pick out mistakes better that way, actually, than be able to see. Even if I can't see the piano at all, I could probably still work with it a little bit. But just try to give me like a little bit like about maybe how you're sitting, if you can, and then your hands at the piano. That would be perfect. Absolutely perfect. Yes, thank you for sharing that, Hector. Hector shared a website there. I've been there before. So yeah, it's definitely has a lot of good material on there. I believe it's better if someone else takes the video. That's possible if you have somebody else to take the video. Yeah, because not everybody has a tripod, right? And I don't understand how you would put a phone. I mean, you could stack a phone against something. And that might work. But yeah, you'll just have to find how it's going to work. Having another person do it works great too. Phone holder. Like if you have one for the GPS function in your car, like a lot of people have the suction cups with the thing that holds the smartphone. You might be able to do it, like bring it inside and put it on something that it'll stick to. And you could do it that way. That would work. Tripod would be great. You can probably buy a tripod for your iPhone on Amazon for like $10, I would think. Because regular tripods aren't oh, except for this one. they're not that expensive. This one was like $200. You don't need to spend that much. But that one's a special one. Let's take a look here. If you have somebody to help you, you might need to okay, I read that. I do have a phone holder, I think. Great. I'll give it a try. Thanks. I'd have my husband take a video. Yeah, well, that's what he's for, right? But he wouldn't want to wait until I had a video that I was happy with. Okay, I get it. So you're going to be you'd be doing it over and over again. So yeah, whichever way you guys can figure it out. I don't have a magic solution for everything. I can't give you. I mean, I can tell you what my setup is, but you don't want to buy that. Not for what you're trying to do. All right, everybody. We got about 5 minutes left or so. So any last minute comments, last minute questions. Otherwise, I'm going to see you on Sunday for our live stream on something. Right after I said how good my memory was. Classical pieces that are great for beginners. Sometimes I get the dates mixed up, especially now. Just some behind the scenes stuff. I actually work ahead on the videos. So I've actually developed the lesson for tonight, last week. And then I developed this week the lessons for next week. And I'm working ahead a little bit because that's going to allow me to take some time off that you're not even going to notice because the lessons will just keep coming. So if you're a YouTuber and you're wondering how do you put out enough lessons without going absolutely nuts, that's how you do it. You record them in a batch. Or you develop the lessons in a batch. We do all these live, so I can't do that, but record them ahead of time. Oh, and then on Tuesday, we have a Tuesday tip coming out. Be on the lookout for that. I'm not sure exactly which one's coming out yet, but I'll get that. Oh, it might be the one about two-handed playing. We'll see. Marie says, do you have any recommendations about the length of a piece that we can send you? For example, within 3, 4, 5 minutes. That's a good question. I would say within 5 minutes. Try not to make it more than 5 minutes. I think, maybe earlier on it's okay if it's a little bit longer because I'm probably not going to get as many submissions. I have a feeling once we do this for a few months that, especially if I announce it better on my videos and my channel and my social media, I'll start getting a lot more submissions, and then they'll have to be shorter because then it might take up more than the hour. I mean, I'd be willing to stay up to an extra hour. I wouldn't do that every time, but I could do that for the student showcase. Okay, hey Tim, for somebody that keeps missing pressing keys, how would I fix that? For somebody that keeps pressing keys. Okay, so you're hitting the wrong key. Well, I'd probably follow this up. This is by Eduardo, by the way. I'd probably follow this up with a few questions. One, how long have you been playing? Because if you're just starting out, missing keys is very common, very natural. But if you've been learning for a while and you're still missing keys, I would start out slow and work your way up to more difficult things. So I would start with your scales, right? And you want to play them at a slow enough tempo to where you're not missing keys. Same thing with the songs you're learning. It may be as simple as slowing down. But start out with scales, learn all your scales, at a decent tempo. And go from there because over time that will train you to not miss as many keys. I still miss keys every once in a while, but it gets better and better with time. Okay, I think my voice is running out. I don't know how I didn't talk that much today. Okay, Fireflower says I did record playing a couple months ago, but got a lot of background noise. That does happen. Dogs barking, cars passing. I need a better mic or a soundproof room. Honestly, I wouldn't mind if there's some noise. Somehow, this new studio, it's funny, as soon as I said that, car drove by. Funny enough, with this studio, there's way less sound than I thought there would be because I'm not too far away from a highway. And sometimes I'm like, I don't know how that didn't get picked up, but it's not bad. It's way better than the basement. But anyway, the point is, before I get way off track, is I don't mind if there's some of that in there. Doesn't need to be perfect. Great lesson today, says Carol at Joff. The hospital did not call me. Okay, fingers crossed that I will be off this weekend. That would be fantastic. I'm assuming you work at a hospital. Because at first I was confused. I was like, what? Hopefully you don't have somebody in there. I know that feeling. It's not, and a lot of people do. It's not pleasant. Okay. Okay, and thanks everybody for helping everybody out with their questions. I always love and encourage helping each other out on the channel. It's awesome to see. Okay, thanks, Tim. Great lesson. Need the reminders on sight reading. I will make sure these items are front and center. Perfect. Yeah, do the assignment, make a little list, check it twice, and go from there. Carol says, great lesson today. Okay, I already read that. I hope you have a weekend off too. I do. I also agree. Now I'm getting burps. All right, Adria says, wondering, could you do a video on habits and how they can dictate how we practice and play our instruments? I like some hunches over. Oh, if someone hunches over, help if I could read properly. They could carry that with them into practice. Yeah, like me. I'm getting better though, and I think really what's like helping me out is doing these videos because I see myself right there. There's a viewfinder. So if I start doing this, like I know, like I see it right away. So I'm like, you know, sitting up straight, good posture. That's one thing that helped me. But yeah, I can do a lesson on this. Let me write it down. And then we'll start wrapping it up. Okay, here we go. This one might have to go into April, though. Bad habits and how they affect playing. That's a good idea, though. So most likely, yes, I will include that. All right. Tim, what is the best way to learn how to lock fingers when playing chords to move from chord to chord? Oh, so like maintaining the same space between chords. To be honest with you, that's something that comes with time. And honestly, you do want to be able to move a little bit because depending on where the chord is on the piano, the spacing is generally the same. But if I just pick this up and I like strictly put it down in the same distance, it's not going to work out right. That's something that will be solved with time as you play more and more chords up and down on the piano. What you may want to do is you may want to start out with triads. Start out with like a C major chord. Play a C major chord down here, then up an octave, then up an octave, then down an octave, then down an octave. Then do like a D major chord. Up and down as fast as you can. If you have to go slow, that's fine. So go through and play your major chords just like that. And then once you get good, do seventh chords. Because that adds a little bit more complexity. So there, I just kind of came up with a practice thing for you to try out. So do that. That'll really help you out. No joke. Identifying chords really helps too. I agree. Very great. ER trauma nurse. All right. Well, much respect to you. I know nurses work very hard. I'm sure, especially in the emergency room. What books would you recommend for sight reading, such as Hanon? Hanon isn't for side reading, or do you mean sight reading? Well, Hanon isn't that great for sight reading, but it is great exercise. What I recommend you do, some exercises I really recommend. Let me get you something real quick. Now, here's the thing about this website, and I brought this up before, that annoys me about this website, even though it's a really good website. All right, I'm about to give you a link to some chair knee exercises, which are Excellent. You especially want to check out the exercises in passage playing. Here's the deal. I'm going to post this link. You're probably going to click on this link, and it's probably going to say like access denied. So what you want to do is you want to click on the link. It's going to bring it up into your browser window. You want to go up to the address bar, copy it, paste it, or clear it, paste it, then press enter. I think if you go up to the address bar, let me see what happens when I do this. It worked for me, but a lot of times it'll say access denied. But after that, what you want to do is you want to click up here, and then you want to hit enter. You might have to hit backspace and then enter. I don't get why they put a restriction on this website other than it's probably a preventative measure for being DDoSed, which is like an attack on your website where it goes down. Thank you for a great lesson. Ability of sight reading is priority for my piano practice. You're going to succeed very well then, Marie. It makes piano practice more comfortable. I agree. It makes it more enjoyable too because you'll be learning pieces and it'll be coming to you much faster. They'll start sounding the way they're supposed to. All right, everybody. I got to run too, or I really need a drink of water more than anything. Thanks, no rush whenever you get to it. Great lesson as always. All right, thanks, everybody. Thanks for coming by, everybody. I had a blast again. Remember to like the video if you found it helpful. And me, your piano teacher, Tim, is going to see you, yes, you, on Sunday. So see you then.